Hi, I'm Jenny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. Welcome to Connections on Purpose. Whether you're here with us live on Zoom, joining us on Facebook, or watching later on YouTube, I'm glad you're here. This is your time to slow down, fill up, and connect with other heart-centered women who are making a difference in the world. I'm blessed to have one of those women with me today. Beth Knaus is speaking on Mind Terms and Mantras. Stay focused on who you are becoming. Beth is an award-winning copywriter, messaging consultant, and CEO of That's a Spade Copywriting Services. She works with female entrepreneurs to discover, refine, and infuse their unique voices into their marketing communications, nail their voice to the page, and attract their target clients. She lives in Norwood, Mass. With her husband and cat, Fifi. And you can find out more about Beth at her website, that'saspade.com, and that is also in the text of this video. Beth, thanks for being with us. I'm looking forward to what you have to tell us today.
Yeah, thank you as always for having me. It's always such a treat to be here in this community and also honored to be in the magazine again with this particular topic. And I wanted to just talk today about how I came upon calling this a mindset term and what what did it mean for me or how did that change for me? So for many years, you know how everybody, it was a trend to choose a word um, for your year and what word were you going to follow? And then shortly after that, I'm always a little bit of a rebel and a nonconformist. Someone said to me, "Oh, there's Chris Brogan, and he writes about having three words." And I kind of like that a little better because I could say the three words and it was like a mantra. But I was always choosing words to aspire to, right? And I think that that's what a lot of people were doing. And I thought, this isn't working for me, right? I would get 6 months through the year and I'd have to look up what my words were because they were out of sight, out of mind because they weren't things I was achieving in the moment. And so this year, I had a number of changes happen for me. A few years ago, I had a little bit of a health issue, but I ended up on some medication that took me a long time to navigate and figure out how to um, feel good physically and have energy and that sort of stuff. And then I had an opportunity at the end of last year to take on a second business, something that I did pre-COVID that was an in-person gig. And I decided I wanted to take it on. And then I thought, I can't also have these words that I feel pressured by, right? I want to have something that I feel is more supportive, that's creating this safe space for me to get to where I want to go. And what tied into it for me is that my dad was a railroad conductor. So in New York, in Long Island. And so for many years, he would take me to work with him. We'd go into Manhattan and I would, see all the things like, we'd go to Rockefeller Center. I've been to Radio City Music Hall and luckily had the opportunity to be inside the trade center, the Twin Towers and all of the New York things. But it was the train ride I kept thinking about because I can be somebody who gets really into that, like, not manic, but that state of, okay, I have to get 20 things done and I'm going to do them right now. And this is how I'm going to do it, and then I would lose track and I would get distracted. I would lose track and I would get distracted. And then I would never accomplish what I really needed to accomplish because I wasn't really going at a good pace. I didn't have any clarity. I didn't have any organization. So when I was thinking about this word, I thought about, I think locomotion is my word, right? I'm not the Acela train. I'm not the speed train. I'm not the express train. I want to be the local train, just going at that same pace. And, I used to sit on the train as a kid and I'd have, like a comic book and a soda and a candy bar. My father would try to keep me occupied on the way into the city. And it was never fast enough for me. I was impatient. But at the end of the day, it was just like, you know what? I accomplished a lot of things. I drank my soda, I ate my chocolate, I read my book, and then I could go on and have this other thing, where I would have this time with my dad. So I thought locomotion is going to be the word for me. And I thought, what is it about the word, right? And I thought we need to have a concept that provides us with the force we need, right? It's all about momentum and moving forward, but doing it in a way that you find fulfilling and that you enjoy. And I started to think about having these forces versus having friction, right? And I made a list to share today because, we all want to show up with ease. We don't want to get to the finish line or the end of a project or an achievement and look like we just came out of, a tussle in the jungle. Like we want to feel like we got there and we can enjoy it and feel good about the journey and how we got there. And we heard a lot of this in the room too. Like we're all at this place in our lives where we've had some experiences, whether it's health or loss or anything else. We choose to work for ourselves. And that in itself is just a huge accomplishment and a challenge. We need something that is supporting us when we're thinking about the thoughts that are in our minds, right? And I know that's what helps me. So as always, you can see my chat is a little loose and casual today, but I find that that's the best way to do it. Um, when we need these words, when we need to lean on them, whether it's whatever you want to call it, maybe you choose a word. It's really the process of choosing the correct word that's going to help you. When we want to lean on them, that's a very different time than when we're choosing them. When we're choosing them, we're like, oh, I'm choosing my word. Let me think of all these great things. But when we really need to lean into them, we need to know that it's something grounding, that it's something we're going to feel good about and get some relief from, rather than, oh, there's just no way I'm going to be brilliant today. That's not a thing for me today. So, one of the best ways to start with finding a mindset term, I think, is really knowing yourself, right? And not worrying about the trend or what somebody else is choosing for their word, or thinking that you have to choose it January 1st or, at some other time. Like if you feel that you are needing something to help you when you have pressures and challenges, it should be something, like I said, that feels safe and that feels good. Um, and sometimes that takes some soul searching. Earlier in our group, in our breakout room, someone was talking about how, um, oh gosh, I just totally lost that sentence. How fantastic. Um, okay, I'm going to move on to something else. I'm going to tell you some mantras that I also use besides having this term of locomotion and what it feels like to be in good motion for me. Uh, Something I've been doing a lot of, which I'm sure everybody can relate to. If you work at home, I am often caught up in the kitchen, right? What snack can I be having? Can I wash those dishes? Does the floor need to be swept, right? As soon as you come out of your cocoon, out of your office, there's all this other stuff you can be distracted by. And I have gotten in the habit of saying to myself, I don't have to do that right now. I don't have to do this right now. This is not time for that. I'll do that after work when I don't need my brain power. I need brain power for something else. Or if I get distracted by things, like I told you, I can get into that like spiral of I have 20 things to do. I'll do a little bit of each thing. Nope, one thing at a time. I'm not a firefighter. I don't have to put fires out. I need to finish this thing first, is another thing that I say to myself. And then I have a couple of things that my dad always used to say to me, like when you overthink or you get wound up in something, he would say, how important is it? How important is it really, right? Um, and another thing that we mentioned in the room, one of the Loris, I think, mentioned it, was about control, right? Uh, we have so little control over so much, right? That it is, how important is it? Do I really need to feel like I'm in control of this thing? Is another thing. And then this one's a little sharper. My dad would say, if you think you're so important, try dying tomorrow and see, how important you are after that, which is more of like an ego thing of like, well, I have to get this done because I'm superwoman, sort of thing. So there was a lot of that. So I wanted to share with you some things that are forces versus some things that are friction. So one of the things that may help you or can help anybody is understanding, the core messaging behind what you do. I have a mix of personal and business things on the list here. And I think when we get caught up in not being able to move forward in our business, it's because we get caught up in that. Um, you know, we don't spend that time. I have so many clients who don't take the time to go inward. And I think this is part of what I wanted to say just before when I lost my brain for a second, is that we are who other people see us for as women, right? Whether it's your boss or your friend or your partner or your children or your parents or somebody, it's all about, oh, well, they see me as this. I'm the caretaker, I'm the bookkeeper, I'm the this. And we spend a lot of our time being caught up in that because we're nurturers and we're helpers, and all of those are really good things. But sometimes that takes us away from figuring out who are we to us, and who do we need to be, want to be, and how do we see it, and how do we talk about it, and then how do we use that in the special way that we do the work that we do. Um, Another one is taking care of yourself, right? We hear this all the time, whether it's movement or rest or hydration or spirituality. We tend to say, oh, I'd love to do this right now. I'll do it later. And later means the next day you're going to say, oh, I really would like to do this now, but I'll do it later. And we don't get to it, but those are integral parts of helping us move forward in a healthy way, right? In your business again, having systems and processes and templates. And I'm working with a new wonderful VA. And because I've taken on this other business, I am giving her all kinds of stuff to do. Like, because I know if I try to do it all, there's just no way I can juggle both of these things. And I really like to make that work. Um, Practices that quiet the noise. This is different for everybody. It's going outside, it's meditation or writing or praying or any of those things. And I think often of being a kid or being a teenager in the car, and how like your parents are always like, turn down the radio, or turn off the radio. And they needed quiet. And I remember thinking to myself, why the heck do we need so much quiet? And now I feel like I understand. Sometimes I just need quiet for my brain to settle down, right? For the heavy stuff to fall to the bottom and the light stuff that I want to focus on to be clear for me. So, there are a lot of forces. And for you, it's about figuring out what are your forces? What are the things you need around you to be able to move with locomotion, right? Or whatever it is your mindset term or mantra would be. And then we're going to talk about the friction. The friction is, of course, like inertia. It's like still pond water, or the things that make you feel like you can't move fast enough, like, you know, being stuck in molasses or falling into quicksand. Or for years, I used to have a dream. I know a lot of people have these dreams where you're running, but you're really not moving. Um, and those things cause friction, right? So it's one of the things is when you try to speak or market yourself or show up like other people. Another thing that's hard for us working at home is that we're alone. So when we have a question about something or we need something, we look externally. We look at other people in our fields, and we look at them in their videos and their YouTubes where they look like they have it all together. And we think, oh, I have to be like that. And really, you have to be like yourself. So I have an accountability partner who I love because we hold each other accountable. We talk every morning at 8:30. We've been doing it for 6 years. We talk about our priorities, but sometimes I catch myself, we're very different people. I catch myself thinking, oh, I should do it like she does it. And look at how she does her marketing. And look at how she sets up her, onboarding process and all of that. But when I try to do it that way, it is friction for me because I can't be her. She also can't be me. So I have to find the ways where I function the best, right? Where I can show up the best. Um, Pushing yourself because you think you should. We had the word should come up in the breakout room, and enough with that. It's what you think and know you should, you want to do, not should. Um, again, neglecting those basics, whether it's having joy in your life or food or outside time or boundaries. Boundaries is such a big word, right? Along with momentum. I feel like momentum is one of the trending words right now. Feeling unsure again about your brand and how you're showing up, but that keeps us from showing up, and we need to show up if we want to move forward in our businesses. Social media, binge watching, like all of these things are distraction and can be friction for you. So it's really great to be aware of that. Um, I have been spending a lot of time thinking about moments when I feel good, right? So, like being in the present and not worrying about 6 months down the road. So, I'm trying to really notice when I feel excited or when I feel refreshed, or what just makes me feel good in the moment and what is happening and what about what's happening is really what's working for me. So, it's another thing where I'm taking a moment to think about intuitively and intrinsically, what is it, right, that is making me feel like I have momentum and motion that I'm comfortable with at that time. Um, and let's see, oh, overthinking. I mean, we all overthink, right? And how do we stop that? Again, I don't have to address this right now. I can think about this later, or writing a note, right? Like sometimes I find if I'm holding on to something, if I write it down, then I know at least I have it somewhere and I can worry about it later. I won't forget it, which we all know we're all doing these days, right? Um, so yeah, so it was a great journey for me to find out that I needed this mindset term. And I haven't forgotten it. When I feel myself like getting a little crazy, I think to myself, locomotion, stay on the track. It's not the speed train. It's about what I can get done. And I am actually really accomplishing much more. Uh, I'm actually going to give you all the link. I just put together just like an exercise that you can take some time after, some journaling prompts and just some ideas about how do you come up with something like this if you're interested in doing it. Um, and that's really all I had to say today. So I'm really glad always to be here.
Okay. Wasn't quite ready for you to end right there. So,
Sorry,
no,
Jenny.
oh, I'm muted too. Am I unmuted now? Yes. Okay. No, it's just because I was just so engrossed in what you were saying, I wasn't prepared to like be on camera again. Let's everybody who's here with us on Zoom, unmute yourselves, please, and let's show Beth some love with Yahoos and clapping and all of that, you know.
You. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Beth. That was so good. You've given us a lot to think about, and you're going to put that link in the chat. Should I also share it in the text with the video? Would you like me to
Sure.
do that as well? Okay, wonderful. That's exciting. Thank you for giving that to us. So let's see. To all of you who joined us live here or catching the replay, thank you for being part of this amazing community. If you'd like to get more involved, join us for future Connections on Purpose gatherings on Zoom or in person in Columbia, Maryland, or explore On Purpose One magazine. Just visit opwgc.com. You'll find inspiration, connection, and opportunities to grow both personally and professionally, all while staying true to who you are. Excuse me. Um, let's see. Until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and stay grounded in your purpose. Thanks again for watching, y'all.